Let's now talk about what's happening in West Asia. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu looks poised to shift the battlefield focus. In fact, a ceasefire deal soon to be voted on by the Israeli cabinet would perhaps signal an end to the conflict with Hezbollah, perhaps. But what does this really mean? Is Netanyahu recalibrating his strategy, freeing Israel to concentrate its military solely on Gaza? Let's get to the details. As per reports, the proposed truce brokered by the US with support from France aims to halt hostilities in Lebanon. If implemented, the Israeli forces will reportedly withdraw and Hezbollah will pull back its armed presence south of the Litani River. Meanwhile, Lebanese troops along with UN observers would secure the buffer zone monitored by an international committee. But is the ceasefire just straightforward? Or is it a strategic move? Is there more to it? As per reports, Israel is prepared to step back from Lebanon, not because it thinks that it has won, but because it must. A two-front war with Hezbollah in the north and Hamas in the south reportedly is untenable for Israel. And by agreeing to the ceasefire, Netanyahu reportedly secures breathing room. With Hezbollah out of the equation in a way, Gaza becomes Israel's singular focus. This is not about avoiding conflict. It's about intensifying matters where it matters most to Netanyahu's agenda. We are not the ones saying that. The Israeli Prime Minister is. You see, Netanyahu has made it abundantly clear Hamas will not remain in power. While visiting the Israeli military positions in Gaza last week, this is what Netanyahu had to say. Listen in.
Hamas will not rule Gaza. We are eliminating its military capabilities in a very impressive way. We are moving on to its governmental capabilities and the hand is outstretched. Hamas will not be in Gaza.
I'm here on the Gaza beach with the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Staff, the head of the Shin Bet, and our heroic commanders and soldiers who are doing a wonderful job here in the center of the strip and in all parts of the strip. Those are the words that were used. Netanyahu's rhetoric and action suggesting that he envisions a Gaza stripped of Hamas's influence. But let's just pause here to actually understand the human toll at stake. As per reports, 97 hostages still remain in Gaza. Netanyahu reportedly insisting that military operations can coexist with rescue attempts, a stance reportedly contradicted by leaders and even senior Israeli defense officials. Reports stating that Netanyahu's refusal to negotiate a comprehensive ceasefire in Gaza stems from his own political agenda. Critics reportedly accusing him of prolonging the war to appease his far-right coalition, some of whom reportedly openly advocate for resettling northern Gaza with Israeli settlers. Meanwhile, as per reports, public opinion polls indicating most Israelis favor a ceasefire deal with Hamas, but Netanyahu seems undeterred. Perhaps adding more fuel to the fire is Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who on Monday in a press conference reportedly outlined a chilling vision for Gaza's future. Smotrich proposing halving Gaza's population within 2 years through what he termed as voluntary emigration. He stated that Israel's military should take over civilian governance, effectively transforming Gaza into a state of permanent occupation. These statements perhaps providing a glimpse into the Israeli government's long-term objectives, that is, dismantling Hamas, reshaping Gaza to fit its security and political goals, regardless of the cost. Where does the US stand in all of this, by the way? US President Joe Biden has largely supported Israel's military efforts, and the impending ceasefire in Lebanon, if it comes through, was reportedly pushed by his administration, remember. But looking ahead, a shift in American leadership could perhaps reshape the dynamics and change a lot. President-elect Donald Trump, known for his support of Netanyahu, has reportedly pressured the Israeli leader to wrap up the Gaza campaign before his inauguration in January next year. As per reports, Trump's return to power might embolden Netanyahu further. But you see, it could also impose stricter timelines. So what is the end game? What lies ahead? What happens now? Netanyahu's immediate focus is clear. Dismantle Hamas, control Gaza, and consolidate political power. The ceasefire in Lebanon is perhaps just a strategic move that allows Israel to redirect its resources southward, if the deal comes through. A prolonged conflict in Gaza will deepen the humanitarian crisis, strain Israel's alliances, and perhaps further polarize its own citizens. Netanyahu has gambled on a ceasefire in the north to, in a way, buy the freedom to escalate things in Gaza. The question now is not whether he will intensify his campaign against Hamas, but whether anyone, be it the US, international mediators, or his own people, will be able to stop him. As the Israeli cabinet prepares to vote on the Lebanon ceasefire, one thing is certain: the war in Gaza is far from over. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.